Now, India's joined a handful of countries, including China, Pakistan and Russia, in establishing diplomatic ties with Afghanistan's Taliban rulers. India's long been a second home for thousands of Afghans, many of whom are women students whose visas are running out. They fear that returning to their homeland would mean facing persecution. DW's Shalu Yadav reports.
They're making Kabuli pulao, Afghanistan's national dish. The aroma as it cooks is as close to home as these women can get. We cannot show the smiles on their faces. These Afghan students are scared for their safety, even though they're in India. Their visas have either run out or are about to, so they'll soon be illegal here. That makes working and renting homes very hard. To get new documents, they'd have to go back to Afghanistan.
Even if we have to do menial jobs or go hungry in India, we don't want to go to Afghanistan. If we go there, our entire careers, our entire futures, all the hard work will be wasted. The girls are being treated like animals there. My brother called me and said, no matter how many problems you face in India, find a way out. If not in India, then outside India. But don't even utter the name of Afghanistan.
They do have basic civil liberties in India, but that could change any moment.
Every time these Afghan girls walk outside their homes, it's a gamble with their future. There's constant fear of being stalked by authorities and deported to Afghanistan, a country many describe as a vast prison for women. There, they would not even be allowed to walk outside their home without a man, even for something as simple as grocery shopping.
There are dozens of Afghan students like these, stuck in limbo. India not having a refugee law makes their situation all the more complicated. Asylum requests by foreigners are dealt with on a case-by-case basis, but these women haven't had any luck.
Even the UN office here says they can't do anything to help us. They only say that there is no law for refugees in India, so they can't do anything. If we show our UN refugee cards at the Foreign Registration Office asking for help, they throw them in our faces and tell us they're worthless.
They saw what happened in 2021 when the Americans left Afghanistan to the Taliban. They watched in horror as the world shrank for their female friends and relatives. Being here felt safe, but they were dismayed when democratic India established diplomatic ties with the Talib regime. Now they fear Taliban officials in India might come after them and send them back to Afghanistan.
My biggest fear is that if I step into Afghanistan and someone comes and takes me away, I won't be able to reach my family. We hear in the news that the Taliban kidnap girls and take them away. Secondly, my entire future will be ruined there. My entire career will be ruined. It's like chopping the wings of a free bird.
Their life in India remains in the shadows, and working illegally makes these women vulnerable to abuse.
As a woman, I ask the Indian government, if you truly call yourself a friend to the Afghan people, this is the time to help your friends.
For more on this, we're joined now by Mariam Safi. She's a leading expert on women's rights in Afghanistan and the founding director of the Organization for Policy Research and Development Studies. Thanks for being with us. Mariam, the Afghan women we saw in our report there, can they expect any support or protection in India, or are they doomed to a life in the shadows?
Well, considering that India is not a signatory to the UN Convention on Refugees and also its amended Citizenship Act, there are no pathways for Afghans to remain in India and be able to enjoy the same civil and liberties as others. And since not issuing visas for particularly students after August of 2021, when the Taliban took over in Afghanistan, has now forced these students to go back to Afghanistan to renew these visas, which is almost impossible to do. There are around 2,500 students currently stuck inside of Afghanistan, not being able to renew their visas to come back to India and restart their studies. There's also an additional 10,000 students in India who are stuck because they cannot continue their studies as their visas have been canceled. So they're stuck in an incredibly difficult situation.
Right. Pakistan has deported hundreds of thousands of people back to Afghanistan in recent months. Some look at that and think of it as a horror example. Could India follow the same path?
It seems that that's the path that they're going to be following. Considering with students, if their visas are canceled, then what they risk is being arrested and deported back to Afghanistan. So that is very much a possible likelihood in the future.
Before the Taliban returned to power in Afghanistan in 2021, India actively supported Afghanistan's democratic progress. So why is it now cozying up to the Taliban?
Well, it seems that India is looking at engagement as a means to manage risk. And by that, what I mean is becoming closer to the de facto authorities in Afghanistan. They feel that they might be able to reduce the chances of Afghan territory being used by anti-Indian elements. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is India trying to balance regional geopolitical dynamics. They're looking at China's growing physical presence in Afghanistan, its political presence, and they're also, on the other hand, looking at Pakistan and the historical leverage it has had with the Taliban. And so it's also a means to counter those two growing influences as well.
Could India not use its closer ties with the Taliban, use its diplomatic skills to press for improvements in women's rights in Afghanistan?
Absolutely, it can. I mean, India is a state party on the Convention on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women and girls. It is obligated to use its diplomatic means to be able to convince and influence other states to respect the rights of women and girls. So by India not adhering to its own obligations under CEDAW, what it's doing is offering tacit support for a system that is implementing what Afghan women and civil society are defining as gender apartheid. But not only that, I mean, India is also a state party to several other treaties. For example, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, its obligations under Women, Peace and Security. Very recently, just endorsed a resolution at the UN Security Council, Resolution 2681, that condemned the ban by the Taliban of women working, seeking education, but in particular, the recent ban on women, female employees of the UN not being able to go to work. So they're a part of an array of treaties and obligations, which the Taliban have no respect for and have violated all of them. But it seems India, on the other hand, is also violating those very same obligations.
Mariam, thank you very much for talking with us today. That was Mariam Safi from the Organization for Policy Research and Development Studies.
Thank you.